To realize that we have 9 different sacred places, each of them with their own energy, each of them with their own grace. We're going to spend some time this evening going from place to place so that you can get a little taste of the spiritual energy that's in each of the places. And so really be in 2 minds, hold, of course, the physical reality of the cleanup, but also open spiritually, really to have that sense of being both a physical worker and a spiritual being simultaneously. Isn't that great? And in the Middle Ages, that really was the role of a monastery, to reaffirm that we are not only just creatures, but that we're also spiritual and eternal. This making, I love this, to think about it this way too, this making that we're doing, so this cleaning up and this rearranging and creating beauty, that's what God does. God's constantly working, rearranging, creating beauty, and so we're great collaborators in that process this weekend too. One thing I want to say right at the get-go, Catholics like statues. So many of our shrines have statues. And of course, there's always the misguided idea, oh, they're praying to a statue. Imagine the statue like a word on a piece of paper. It points to something beyond itself. Right? So the statue isn't the holy thing. The holy thing is what the statue represents. Does that make sense? In other words, you don't want to be you don't want to be thinking that the most sacred thing at the shrine is the statue. No, the most sacred thing at the shrine is what happens in us as we open to what that statue reads, like a word on a paper. Like the word peace or the word love. It points to something. And so these statues do that too. They point to something beyond. So friends, welcome to the Christine Center Peace Pole. And before I pass the microphone to Sister Henrita to speak about the Peace Pole, I just want to honor Sister Henrita for instigating this Peace Pole. She was the driving energy and the creative force behind this Peace Pole happening. And it's really part of your legacy to compassion and the Charter for Compassion here at the Christine Center, Henrita. So thank you so very, very, very much.
First of all, thank you for being here. It's lovely of you, and I'm grateful. And I too am so happy to see this Peace Pole and to be again sitting here. And I think it's important as we look at the Peace Pole to look around it and see all the beauty and the work that is done to make it a beautiful place for us to be here together. Just give you a minute to just look at it. And the Peace Pole is an international symbol of peace, bearing the message, may peace prevail on earth. It's in different languages and on each of its sides. Today, there are over 250,000 peace poles now located in every country in the world and dedicated as monuments to peace. Over 250,000 peace poles in this world to help us come to peace. Our peace pole was designed and crafted in steel by Henry Eisenhower, long-term supporter, generous friend, and beloved neighbor of the Christine Center. Its 8 sides declare peace in Spanish, German, English, Polish, Indonesian, and many, many languages is there. And so this is the Peace Pole. This is our call to be peacemakers in this world. to be peacemakers in this world. And so let's take a few moments then to walk about the peace pole. Just walk about it and read the prayer for peace on it. Read the prayer for peace. May peace prevail in our world. And welcome peace into your heart. Take peace into your heart. 3 times we're going to say, may peace prevail on earth. Let's go together. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail on earth. And now let us bow and move on to Basil. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, well, hi again, everybody. Good to have you here together. So this shrine is St. Michael the Archangel, and it's dedicated to Michael Ward. And I'd like to start by saying just a little bit about Michael Ward, our friend from Boston. Mike came here for a retreat, and I was saying goodbye to him when he was done and leaving, and he was just about to go out the door. And I said, "Oh, Mike, I just remembered something." And he said, "Oh, what?" And I said, "We need somebody on our capital campaign committee from Boston." He said, "Oh, my sister," he said, "I've never been on a capital campaign. I don't know anything about raising money." And I said, "Well, I think you'd be excellent at it." And he was that kind of a person, you know, a fearless person, just very sociable, etc. So he said, well, he thought about it and he said, "Well, because it's you asking me, I'll say yes." So he was on our capital campaign committee for 5 years, and he was absolutely fabulous. And I think the best fundraiser we've ever had. And he had these events out in Boston, and one of them, Ceci and her sister flew out there for it, and they just amazing what we accomplished at that one fundraiser. And so he continued to raise money for us. The 2 big windows in the chapel, each one $10,000. All those windows were donated. And one of them is for his mother, and the other one for his brother, Father Tom, who was a priest in Omaha. And then he also got the people in Omaha to donate also. So he was one of those guys that could just go and feel at ease asking people for money. And so it was a blessing, a great gift to the Christine Center to have him on our capital campaign. Mike came up with the tagline, "Stillness calls you," Valerie said. So that's wonderful. That's another contribution he made, yeah.
Yeah, and he was a great teacher.
Yes, he also came and did seminars. He was a great teacher. He was a member of the Diamond Approach for many, many years out in Boston, yeah. And then he became a member of our board, and he was on there for 2 terms. He flew in 4 times a year, and this was his hermitage. He always liked Basil. And so that's why the grotto is here by Basil Hermitage. So he was that kind of person, strong as St. Michael, courageous, steadfast, determined. You know, he had so many wonderful gifts. And, you know, another thing is that Sister Virginia always wanted a Michael Hermitage. Remember that, Gabe? Mm-hmm. And we never got around to a Michael Hermitage, but here we have this instead. There was a man named Mike Wire who was a tremendous, like Mike Ward, volunteer donator of his time and energy in the early days. He died of cancer also, and he gathered all these people around here, Mike Wire, and they made the Christine Center. All volunteers in those early days, right, Gabe?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Mike. And so we honor him, and we also pray with St. Michael for the courage and the strength that we need to do what we need to do in this life.
Welcome to the oldest shrine at the Christine Center. Sister Johanna mentioned Mike. Mike and Roy and some other men from the area. When Sister Virginia Mary explained to them that this was a retreat center and a holy place, first thing they said is, well, where's the shrine? And so it never had occurred to Sister Virginia Mary that she might have a shrine. So what they did was, in the typical Wisconsin rural fashion, rounded up a bathtub. And then they covered it in cement, and Virginia loved stones. And so all these wonderful stones are stones she collected, people collected for her, and they put these marvelous stones in the cement that surrounded it. And instead of the Blessed Mother in the shrine, because the mission of the Christine Center is to provide a place for people of any tradition to have opportunity to deepen. At the time, Mary Southard, who was a renowned artist, happened to be here on a sabbatical. And so she said, I'll carve something. And so Mary Southard carved the tree with the symbols for major traditions of faith on the planet. So we have the Tao and Confucianism, we have Hinduism, we have the Muslim faith, we have Shinto and the Eastern nature traditions. We have Buddhism, we have Christianity, we have Judaism, and we have all the other, the fire represents all the other nature indigenous traditions as well. But what was so important to Sister Virginia, and what I love about this too, it's all one tree. And it's all flowers on the same tree, rooted in the same source. So I just love this as really capturing the essence of the Christine Center. And again, you know, here's the other essence of the Christine Center: volunteers. Bringing the bathtub, putting the stones in, collecting the stones. It's just a marvelous testament to the kind of collaboration and spirit and community that makes the Christine Center. And we have this morning prayer where we talk about being one body, one heart, one mind. We have various energies resonating. And I thought, you know, St. Michael with his big courage and his power, it's really the physical center. And then here, because, you know, when we debate spirituality and debate, it's all intellectual, right? You know, so and it's the mind, I want to say this, it's the mind of the human that has created the flowering of all the different traditions. You know, so I think of this particular shrine holding the intellectual center, you know, holding that particular energy. And then we go over there to Mary and Jesus, the heart energy's over there. But, you know, all three of them together are the fullness of our experience here at the Christine Center. We are one mind in the light of holy wisdom. So here we are at the Jesus shrine. The gesture that he has that's the gesture of welcome, isn't it? Welcome, welcome, hello, welcome. Here we are. And I like to think that this is the gesture that Jesus used, blessing the little children, blessing the disciples, blessing the women. When he was delivering the Sermon on the Mount, and every time he said, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are the meek, blessed are those who trust in God, all those. I can imagine Jesus doing this. Now, In the Greek Orthodox tradition, the invitation is always to assume the position of the icon. Isn't that interesting? So that you might experience in your body what the holy ones experienced, right? So as I thought about this whole idea of blessing, and I want to say what blessing is. Blessing isn't like inoculating somebody with something or giving something to somebody. Right? That's not what blessing is. When you bless, what you're doing is recognizing the blessing already there. It's like the scales have fallen from your eyes and you see how holy they are. Blessed are you. See? So when the angel blessed Mary with the news of the Nativity, the angel wasn't saying, now I'm making you holy. That's not how it works. See, we're never not holy. What we need are people to say, I see you. I see your holiness. That's what blessing is. So let's just take a minute or so now to just stand in the blessing position. You may notice that your hands begin to tingle. Good. And just let come to mind various people, situations, or even a geography that you want to bless. And use whatever words you wish to silently bless them. And in a way, feel the energy of recognizing the holiness of the situation or the blessedness of a situation. And certainly, blessed are we here. All right, so this is our Mother Mary shrine, and I really don't know where the statue came from. We were repairing some of the shrines, and the statue showed up. And then Wally Ormond built the little protection for it. The interesting thing about the positions, this is the statue that goes like this. See that? You feel that? I mean, there's something about the strength in the arms and the sending down. And it's called Our Lady of Grace. This is in the 1800s, there were numerous Marian apparitions. So people saw the Blessed Mother appear while they were in prayer. So you may know Lourdes or Fatima, right? This is the Mary that appeared to St. Catherine Labouré. And she appeared standing like this with rays coming down from her hands. And she's standing on a globe, and her feet are on top of a snake. Now, this is powerful symbolism, because it's as if Mary is sending life force and energy to the planet. And what she's standing on is anything that would be vicious, malicious, evil. So Mary as kind of overcoming and transcending that, blessing the planet. That's so powerful too, to feel pure, selfless, maternal presence. Who doesn't want that, right? In other words, the very best of being nurtured, being mothered, from the softness of that, the self-giving of that, to feel that. So how about a minute we try that, and we imagine too, and we are standing on the globe, aren't we? That's a lot bigger than hers. So feet comfortably, shoulder width apart, and hands stretched, feeling the power, and being like a channel of blessing, grace, protection for the planet. And again, you might have some physical sensations. Great. And unconditionally blessing, the joy of blessing. This particular shrine is dedicated to Our Lady of Guadalupe. If you are in Mexico, you see her everywhere. It's the Blessed Mother in this beautiful aura, standing on a half moon being lifted up by angels. Just the most amazing image. And she's very, very special to the people of Mexico. So, in the 16th century, there was an indigenous man named Juan Diego. And he was walking along, and the Blessed Mother appears to him, an indigenous man. And she says to him, "Tell the bishop to build a cathedral in my honor for peace and prayer for all people." And of course, Juan Diego says to her, "Are you nuts? He's not going to believe me." So it's the middle of the winter, and she gifts him with this huge bouquet of roses, which he wraps in his tilma, goes to the bishop, tells the bishop what he saw. The bishop can, yeah, really, And then he opens his cloak, the roses fall to the ground, and on his tilma, this woven, straw-like woven tunic that he's wearing, is the image of Mary. This image still exists. It's in the basilica, which did get built in Mexico. And the analysis of the paint is still a mystery. There is no paint on earth like the paint on that tilma, or the color, I should say. It's not even paint. It can't be described. There's all kinds of studies that have been done on this tilma, and it's remarkable that it still exists. And of course, over 1 million people visit the tilma every year in Mexico. It's just an amazing story. Now, here's the important thing as I think about it. Mary appears to the indigenous man. And just take that in, right? So the mother, we just heard about this mother protecting and blessing the planet powerfully, sending grace and being maternal, is for all people. All people. And her gesture is a namaste gesture. She has her hands folded and her head bowed. It's just a most remarkable thing to see and take in, this namaste gesture of Mary. Now, how did this statue come to the Christine Center? About 50 years ago, there were some tourists in Mexico who were noticing that a little chapel was being torn down to make room for a highway, and this statue was about to go into the dumpster. So they took it. And it then lived in Neilsville for 50 years. And then on one of the art events, a woman said to me, she says, "I have a statue of Guadalupe. Would you like it?" So while we're here, I really want to honor the indigenous tradition that runs through every major spiritual expression. The very first movement of heart comes from nature, comes from the beauty of the sky, the gift of the air, the warmth of the fire. So this indigenous sensibility of how God is everywhere. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So our Camino continues, and this is the longest walk. Well, welcome to the nativity scene that's at the Christine Center all year long. And the reason that's the case is because it was the insight of St. Francis that the most amazing thing God did was to become human. That's the most amazing thing. And it isn't about us being bad and Jesus having to come fix it. It's about the fact that being human and being on earth is good enough for God. Do you see that shift? That's the Franciscan shift. The earth being human, having human experience, being in relationship, living and dying and creating in the in-between process, all of that is good enough for God. That's the wonder of Francis for the creche scene. And he was so excited when this insight came to him that it's about us being good enough for God, that God comes and takes our form, that he wanted to recreate the Bethlehem scene. So he convinces the town of Greccio in 1223, so 801 years ago, he convinces the townspeople of Greccio to come repeat the whole scene. So he gets an ox and he gets an ass and he climbs the mountain into the cave. All the townspeople come in and he starts to sing the praises of God. That was the first Christmas creche. It had never been done before. And it celebrates how God arranged God's self so that God could be with us just like us. See, that's the Franciscan secret. This particular creche was gifted to Sister Ceci by Jerry and Carol Vedra as they were downsizing, and they asked if we wanted a creche, and how could I say no, huh? So God is gifting us with divine presence. But in the indigenous tradition, there's a long tradition of gifting, understanding that everything is gifting us so that we can be here. And in the Longhouse tradition, so in New England, in that area of the country, in the Longhouse tradition, they have this special Thanksgiving prayer where they thank the air for allowing us to breathe, for the water for keeping us hydrated and for being able to cook with it and to enjoy it, and for the grasses that grow, for everything that arranges itself that we can be here. Isn't that fabulous? And just think about that. I mean, lots of people are involved in the arranging of themselves that you can be here. I mean, you didn't get here by yourself. And even to be aware of the fuel in your car that used to be plants that turned into carbon that we then pull out of the earth, arranging itself so we could have fuel for the car. I mean, do you see how everything is this great interconnection? It's always Christmas. We're always, always receiving. All right, so I thought our gesture here for the closing of this little time here would be to wish each other Merry Christmas. So find somebody and wish them Merry Christmas. Eric, Merry Christmas. Melody, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Thank you, friends. I want to welcome you to the Canticle Circle and to this beautiful sculpture that was done by Henry Eisenhower. The sculpture is called Intuitive Insight, and I want to talk about it first because it honors Sister Johanna and Sister Henrita when they stepped back from leadership in 2017 at the Christine Center. Now, they didn't step back from the Christine Center, of course, but they stepped back from the executive work. So in 2017, this particular sculpture was created by Henry Eisenhower, and because we work with the three energy centers, it's the light of insight that comes when you are aligned in all three centers. So the physical center, the emotional center, the intellectual center together. You know, it's the unitive prayer that we say, and Henry was inspired by that. So this honors over 40 years of service between Henrita and Johanna. And of course, by now it's 60 because it's at least 10 more years for both of you. And so it's 60 years of service represented in this sculpture. Now, this is what we call our canticle circle. Now, as St. Francis was nearing the end of his life, so in 2023, he had this insight at Greccio, Well, he convinced the whole town that life is good and, this earth is good enough for God. Okay. In 2025, just before he died, he was very, very, very sick. And he was with Saint Clare at San Damiano, her monastery. And all his life, he had been kind of working at writing a prayer. And he has various ways of saying it. But finally it came to him that he has to pray a prayer that shows how everything on the planet praises God and serves God. And we too. I mean, it's like people look at the air, look at the water, look at the sun, look at the stars, look at fire, look at wind, see how it reflects and praises God, do likewise. So that's what this canticle is, and we won't do it tonight, but you have it in your packets. You can see the prayer and how Francis prays every element, talking about how amazing it is, giving it a virtue. For example, fire, robust, robusto, is the word he uses, and strong and playful. So as you look at all the various qualities that he gives the elements, these are qualities for us as well. So that's part of the canticle. And then he becomes quite mystical. He even praises Sister Death. That Sister Death in the human experience has something to teach us too, and that there's something about illness, there's something about beginnings and endings that are part of the human experience that are also good enough for God. Isn't that amazing? So when you pray that prayer, you can come and you can walk from picture to picture to picture and experience the canticle circle. So here, unlike at other centers where they have stations of the cross, we have the stations of the canticle. So we celebrate Earth and the planet and the beauty of the natural world, all of it, like us, good enough for God. Last stop is the Vision Circle up on the hill. So welcome everyone to the Visioning Spiral here at the Christine Center. This is a very interesting piece of real estate here at the Christine Center. The pole shed used to stand here, and all kinds of dreaming was happening with the board of directors. So what we decided to do was to dedicate this space as a kind of visioning space, because surely the board was really juiced by the possibilities. So we created, in a way, this visioning circle, and Henry just happened to be concluding a long term on the board. So this visioning spiral is dedicated to our very own Bucky Fuller, Henry Eisenhower, and we call him Bucky Fuller because of his affection for the dome. He really has that kind of visionary, practical, applied mysticism of Bucky Fuller. So this is dedicated to Henry. But here's the beautiful thing. We end here because we end spiraling in, and then spiraling out, we begin again. What a spiral does is it swings you in, and then there's nowhere to stop, and swings you right back out again. So it's this sense of flow that's continually happening. The other marvelous thing about a spiral is that it is the archetypal pattern of creation. Everything spirals. Our DNA spirals, the galaxies spiral, the whole universe itself is in one great kind of spiral rotation and expansion. So we celebrate that here, and so we're spiraling, and this little mini labyrinth-like experience is to honor that. Good where we've been, good where we're going to. Good where we've been, good where we're going to. Good
been, good where we're going to. Good where we've been, good where we're going to.
Thank you. Wow, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is a great gift